September 10th, 2007. This is Diehard Gamer Radio, episode 32.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go!
You are listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Well, welcome back to Diehard Gamer Radio. As always, I am Murdock, and with me I have John, Steve, and Brian.
We are Devo.
And we have our special guest today. We have Roger, who happens to run his own anime store.
Which we happen to be recording it today. Thank you, Roger. Would you like to say a word?
We.
Okay. I was expecting a store advertisement, but you know.
You don't want to plug it, don't plug it. Let it drain.
Well, I'll probably plug it enough the way that this podcast is going. So.
Well, you'll reach 2 people, so you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Are either of them in the state? Probably not.
Well,
Yes, but conveniently there is a website, www.gimmeanime.com.
That's better.
Okay.
That's the kind of mercantilism I look for.
So let's go on to our first news bit. Shikigami no Shiro 3 coming out for Wii and Xbox 360. Shmupla for people in Japan and not the U.S.
God damn it. Like, they buy 360s in Japan anyways.
Yeah, they bought 2 or 3.
Is it going to be like a real title or a
3.
download title?
I think it is going to be an actual physical disc that you hold in your hand.
Okay, so then the most important question, who are they going to get to dub it?
The Koreans.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that would be a step up in quality from 2.
Well, you could always get the Japanese to do it as well.
Well, the Japanese dubbing their own Japanese game in Japanese?
No, the Japanese dubbing it in English. We only in junior high. We don't get that much allowance.
Also
Playing
a step
the
up from
part
2.
of Krukov in this podcast will be Roger.
Oh.
So, how much you hate them slanty-eyed folks, Roger? Wow! Or do you only hate them when you're drunk?
How about that Baton Death March?
Thank you for
I
listening
hate them so much that I'm fucking them one at a time.
Thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio. As always, you can listen to it. All right. So moving on, next up, 2 Castlevania games announced for mobile phones.
Hey, at least they're making games. I mean, it's nice to see them making a Castlevania game.
Are they going to be block-dropping puzzle games?
No, they are actual platform games.
What's going to be
On a
really
cell
weird
phone.
is if somebody has a Castlevania theme as their ringtone, and somebody's sitting next to them playing Castlevania game. You guys be constantly picking up his phone. Hello.
It'll be okay, because the only thing you'll hear off the mobile phone version is their death sound.
Well, yeah, because there's no way you can control a Castlevania with any type of joypad configuration on a cell phone.
Yeah, I'd like to see you move forward and jump at the same time.
There's a new cell phone being developed just for that reason. I think Capcom's behind it.
I think it's called the N-Gage.
Speaking of which, we're getting to that. Capcom to publish on new N-Gage. The note I have for here is, why do we have a new N-Gage? I mean,
Side talking forever.
Because somebody was stupid enough to fund it.
Because so far there's nothing to hold. The Phantom hasn't stepped forward to fill the N-Gage void, and so.
I think
was somebody stupid enough to buy it?
Well, there were some people who bought it before,
anything.
but it tanked. But I think what this is Nokia is using N-Gage as their gaming branding for all their new phones. It's like anything that's of a high enough quality to sport gaming, they're calling N-Gage. It's not a specific phone, really.
well,
So it won't fail specifically.
Well, it's hard to have a successful system where you have to, remove the battery pack to change the game.
Well, that was the first one. The second one, they actually upgraded out of that, so it wasn't horrible. I think you only had to move one little piece on the back versus taking the whole damn thing apart.
Well, I think the critical lesson we learned is it's hard to have a successful handheld system that's not made by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just to go back, the 2 Castlevania games that are coming out are Aria Aria of Sorrow and a new game,
Shadow.
Castlevania Order of Shadows, which once again probably means nothing.
But so at least Order of Shadows is being designed for the phone. Area of Sorrow, they're actually porting one of the full-featured games to a mobile phone platform.
That
and
is
they're expecting
correct.
it to not suck rocks.
That is
Hey, it'll be
correct.
just as good as when they ported Double Dragon to the NES.
Sweet.
I gotta buy a phone.
I got to see a guy about a phone.
I got to buy a phone too, but that's because mine's broken.
Hey, will it work on the iPhone? Will you be able to, do the touch screen and have your character move?
I'm never
can't with
paying
some NES
$600.
emulator.
I'm not paying $600 for a Castlevania game.
It's only
no,
$400 now.
Now that they've finished raping the early adopters, it's much cheaper.
Yeah, well, moving on.
On the other hand, the iPhone has no protruding buttons, so it will slide in and out of your ass very easily.
There's that.
Bend over. Steve Jobs has an email for you.
Oh, by the way, there will be a 400-page invoice to follow.
Yeah.
Can't check your emails because it's up your ass.
Yeah, the bill is very difficult to fit in your ass.
I'd buy an iPhone if I didn't feel guilty about slaughtering useless, helpless trees.
No, the trees can fend off.
Yeah,
No,
the trees can fend for themselves, okay?
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
They've had enough time to adjust to our attacks.
Yeah.
Evolve or die.
Exactly.
The Redwoods have had 200 years. They should know by now.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. Tell Nintendo about your Wii.
Well, I got this burning, itching feeling.
It burns where I pee.
I knew that,
That
we were
was the
going to
second
go.
time I got the cramps.
So their website is called
Seriously.
what?
Okay.
Show me your Wii.
Okay,
Is there an
Nintendo.
image upload for this? Because really, that's just asking for it.
There is if you're excited.
Okay. Nintendo has opened up myWiiStory.com, which allows consumers to regale the interwebs with stories of their Wii experience. This stuff kind of writes itself.
Seriously, what were they thinking?
We need a new
At
fanboy website.
At what point did this seem like it'd be a good idea that wouldn't go horribly, horribly wrong once 4chan heard about it?
I just want to know how much innuendo you could work into one of these, too. It's like, well, I went into my special gaming room, picked up my controller, and the experience just flowed.
I blew the whole wad in the first 5 minutes. Suddenly the game just wasn't the same.
I just can't get the Wii out of my hand.
Hey, there's even better. There's a cam horn named Wii-chan. Because
Well,
And
what's her
what
internet
does
claim to
she
fame?
do
Well-
with the Wii?
well, I don't think. I
What
need
doesn't
to,
she do with the
Yeah,
Wii?
there's really much there. I don't think we need to really explain because the imagination will fill in the blanks for you.
Okay.
So was she happy they included Rumble in their motion sensing controller?
I would imagine so.
She's got a slot that's ready for your upload at any time.
Where did I fail with this podcast? I mean, really?
You failed when you asked other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You failed when you decided, hey, these guys know something about video games.
Yeah. So next up, Cave changes the name of their newest shooter again.
Wait, it's called again now?
Well, no.
Oh.
It was
No,
Angels.
now it's called No?
Well, it was Angel's Bodyguard or Tenchi no Jusha, then Death Lolita, and now it's Death Smiles, which I'm not quite sure.
It just gets worse. They should have stuck with the first one. At least stopped at the second one.
I'm not sure what a Death Smile is, so I don't know.
It's
I
when
think
the
you had to
Death
shoot
Lolita-
some in Grasshopper, Cell Shaded,
something.
Killer 7.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you had to kill a lot of Death Smiles there.
Okay. So, lots of maniacal laughing in the shooter then, right? Ships running towards you before they explode, right?
Hey,
Either that
beware,
or
I
they're,
live.
Yeah.
Their art budget got cut, and they turned everything into smiley faces.
No, they live.
Brian's done
leak.
doing his coke. So we can continue.
Yeah, it's,
All right.
it's
I'm
like
good.
it's like Scarface here.
Yeah, there's a big pile of cocaine sitting in the middle of the table between all the microphones.
Well, crap, then we need a hooker, too.
Fucking A!
All right. So next up, the Amusement Machine Show 2007 is from the 13th of September to the 15th of September, and the 15th is open to the public, and it just so happens to be 1 week before the Tokyo Game Show. So,
Yeah, timed that well, didn't they?
yeah. So for the
be
next
there if I
2 weeks, Japan will be full of nothing but video games if it hasn't been already. But still,
Full of fail.
So basically, this is a show that's 90% pachinko machines. Then
no, there's actually going to be a large
Pinball.
yes, there's going to be one large pinball.
pretty cool. You show up, they load you in a ball, they send you through the
1,
show.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Surrounded by nerds. But there's going to be a large amount of publishers there. Sega, Capcom, pretty much anyone who still makes
Midway,
arcade
Bally.
machines.
They still make arcade machines?
Unfortunately,
that isn't
they're
like
still
sticking
going
a
to be
finger up
making-
somebody's ass?
It's going to be Sega Pachinko.
That's probably pretty close to the truth.
World Championship Pachinko. Super Turbo Pachinko 2.
If the
Strip
arcades are lucky, they'll get a port
pachinko.
from one of the home consoles.
No, they've all moved to Pachi slots now. It's Pachislo.
Cheese?
Pachislo, is that like a Nabisco snack cracker?
It is.
Okay.
It's a spreadable cheese.
Okay.
For your Wii.
For your Oh, there should never be
Well,
cheese
as long
on your
as it's
Wii.
not from your Wii.
Yeah, yeah. The
You
cheese.
need to see a doctor about
Yeah,
that shit.
or
when you're
just
looking for
you know,
Dr. Mario.
here's a soap.
Is there anything stronger than an explicit tag in iTunes? I need to know.
It's explicit with a bigger font.
This podcast may be full of
This
cheese
podcast
coming from your Wii.
This podcast may or may not contain something that's not explicit.
That's vaguely specific. All right, moving on. Our next news bit is PlayStation phone rumors resurface.
What?
Did somebody just put a weird label on one of the Google phone rumors?
No, so Sony Ericsson is supposed to make a PlayStation phone. It's supposed to run UMDs.
They're saying it's a game phone, but they're not branding it the
Oh.
PlayStation label, though. They didn't say that.
Well,
whatever.
I
I like how
Sony
that you're-
said Jack.
I like
So
that
it's
you're.
the
Ericsson
IPSP?
wouldn't say that it was PlayStation branded, meaning it wasn't going to have PlayStation on the phone. They're saying it's going to be a game-designed phone, but that's all they'd say.
Is it going to be N-Gage compatible?
It could be.
Yes,
Phantom
but it's gonna
compatible.
have-
This
it's
is
gonna-
going to be O-Gauge. It's the next evolution.
So,
yeah.
wait a minute. So,
Wait,
is it going to have, like, 6-axis control and,
That would
you know,
really
no
suck for a
rumble?
phone.
You're gonna watch people walk down the street just going. "Ah, ah."
Or leave it in their pocket and go, oh.
Someone's playing Super Monkey Ball in their pants.
Yeah, they got Katamari going on, and just, it's just rolling around their pants, and like, oh, oh, oh.
That'd be really weird to hear the music while you're walking.
Yeah.
So step one, find a company that can make a handheld video game system. Step two, find a company that can make a phone, because they haven't met either of those yet.
And then put two great tastes together.
And, come up with a 400-page bill. All right, so moving on. Our next news bit. Major publishers avoiding E for All Expo.
Yeah.
And
It has something to do with the fact that everyone else is avoiding you for all Expo,
Well,
I think.
Sony and Microsoft aren't going to be there. Capcom, Sega, Midway, and Sony are also not attending. I think it's just EA and Nintendo are pretty much the only ones that are going to be there right now.
But what about all
you
the...
got to look at the things going on. I mean, they just did E3. There's two other big things coming up in Tokyo right now. There's almost
Yeah.
no reason to do this show. There's just nothing that is going to drive them to go to it.
But what about all the research they did on the layouts at PAX?
What? I'd never heard that.
Yeah, they actually had a thing on. It was suggested by a couple of different entries in the on the not the primary post on PA, but the secondary and the barnyard animals, the braying and neighing of barnyard animals section. They were basically saying that there was a large number of people who are running other conventions who were running around at PAX taking down the dimensions and layout of all the different rooms and things like that and taking pictures of layouts to utilize in their own convention doings or whatever.
Now, is
Or
this...
at least it was that one guy they tossed out.
There
on
was
his
more
ass.
guys. Yeah, there was in on Friday, on Gabe's post on Friday that he was talking
Now,
about.
are these game conventions or are
Yep.
these
Yeah.
anime conventions or
Video
something
game.
like that?
They're video game
PAX.
conventions.
No, okay.
PAX.
Well,
They're trying
no,
to make another. They're trying to figure out what makes PAX PAX, and not figuring out that the thing that makes PAX PAX is the fact that Penny Arcade runs it.
Yeah, they
I
need
mean,
some clones that might work.
Yeah, well, they pretty much said what the point of the 17 paragraph thing that Gabe did was basically they're doing it wrong. That they had a community that they made a convention for, as opposed to making a convention and trying to build a community around it.
Yeah.
And that's why one's
isn't
going to
there
win
already?
Mars
I mean,
and,
are we going to start seeing gaming conventions like we have anime conventions?
Well,
and
I think
Star
that's what a
Trek
lot of these places are
conventions?
trying
pretty
to
much
do.
what PAX is. It's a gaming convention that was built around gaming, not built around anything else, and there's a big enough
Well, I
hole
think
for PAX.
I think that really at this point the idea is that because after E3 collapsed as a fan convention, that there's this vacuum for fan
Well,
conventions.
E3
Well,
was never
E3
really a
was-
fan convention.
E3 wasn't.
It was
supposed
in the
to be.
last years.
Well,
like
yeah.
the last 5 years of that convention.
Well, that's because they
was-
were giving passes away to everybody who could say that they had a
Well, right,
podcast or a
so-
website.
And I mean that it was in effect, it was industry, but you bought something from an industry company at some point, so they let you in that convention.
Yeah.
I'm a press guy because I wrote HTML one time 12 years ago.
And that was for your Hello World script?
Yes. At some point in time, you actually typed a comma in a text editor.
Ah.
I think E for All Expo.
That does rule out most of the internet.
Yeah.
E for Everyone is just badly timed. They need to do it at a time when nothing's going
Well, we
on
want
and
to
there's
separate
a
up
Yeah,
population.
yeah.
It's
Don't
crazy.
plan it during the Tokyo Game Show.
Well,
do more.
also,
You got to
know,
make it evolve too. I mean, you can't just make it around just games. I mean, that's what I think people are trying to learn from PAX is what drives that. There's more to PAX than just the video gaming.
Well, they're trying to. Part of the problem is that a lot of these don't seem to be getting is that they're getting all the industry crap. But okay, if I want industry crap, why am I going to fly somewhere and watch y'all tell about it? I'll just watch ours go to it and broadcast over the web to me and tell me what's happening.
Exactly.
If there's not something fun happening, what's the point of going to it?
There's no draw to it. There's no pull to want.
I mean,
to,
not like I
you
went to
wanna
PAX
go
or
there.
something. But that's because I'm an antisocial blah blah blah. But
and because it's kind of far away.
well, I wouldn't really.
And 'cause
mind.
you're kinda
It's just,
broke. I was so gone to that, but I just couldn't do it. Couldn't swing it.
Although I will say that Will Wheaton's keynote was actually very well done.
And what did Wesley say?
Young Mr. Wesley.
It's actually a very inspiring keynote. It's something that
Did
you
he-
actually have to listen to.
Did he mention whether or not the turbo lifts actually go really fast or not?
No,
Oh.
but he did talk about trying to get into Ashley Judd's pants.
Yeah, boy.
All of that, and I think he just.
Well, after he had that problem with the alien princess who turned into the big furry in that one
What?
episode, that he's,
You okay there, Brian?
Oh, please do not be snarfing. Thank you.
Is there something you want to share with us, Brian?
I'm just making TNG references. So just,
Okay.
That one goes out to Damien.
Yeah.
I kind of.
Yeah, once that princess turned into a Tauran shaman, it was all furry all over.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I must have missed that episode. I always keep catching that Sex Planet episode for whatever reason.
It was the same season.
Well, maybe you should stop putting that tape in the player.
not-
It's not like a lot of places except for Spike are really. Is Spike still Spike?
Yeah.
This week.
Well, yeah, this week.
Not like anybody else, but they're running TNG runs. so.
G4. They're still running it for whatever reason.
Well, I thought they were
Anyways,
only running.
How can G4 be running TNG
The
when they're running
original.
all their awesome video game content? They can't possibly have time to do it.
Hey, they've been running the Jamie Kennedy experiment and Cops.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
They're-
great! They've turned
So-
into MTV.
Let's not forget about cheaters.
Hey, we're
Yeah,
telling
somebody
you.
wants to say
So what,
somebody else cheated on.
what you're telling me
Makes
is
us
that
all feel better about our
G4 is
lives.
a dying station, is what you're
Well,
telling me.
That's been
No,
well
it
known.
died a year ago. It just the
Yeah, they-
ember still burns.
When you have to rerun Cops and you're not a Fox channel, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, they've become Spike TV 2.0 is basically how it's working. But
That's unfortunate.
Moving on. Next up, D3 Publisher announces the Simple Wii series for
Hey, wait,
Wii.
you skipped the cool news.
You missed the
Oh,
bodily
we were
injury.
all excited about arm breaking and people.
Oh
dying
yeah,
for
yeah.
their
Well,
video
let me go
games.
back to that.
Or at least
Arm
losing
Spirit
arms.
is being recalled in Japan. Arm Spirit is a
2D shmup.
It's
that
not a 2D shmup.
it's the new
You fly
name
a
of
ship called an arm.
it's the new name of Death Smiles. This just in.
It's a Japanese arm wrestling game, and it's being recalled in Japan by its maker Atlas due to reports that 3 players have broken their arms while playing the game.
Holy lawsuit.
Well,
How do you do that?
well,
Cool. They can
They're
market it over
probably
here as
doing it
like over the
entirely
top
wrong
the
'cause they're
video
trying to
game.
cheat to win.
Well, see, and Atlas released a statement,
Robotic
and
arm.
it wasn't a robotic arm, and they said it's like, well, we can't understand how this could happen. I mean, there's even office ladies who can play this game and beat it. And I need these big muscular guys breaking their arms on this machine, so they probably put like some pneumatic device that's used to manufacture cars in Japan and put it in this machine or something. I don't know what they did, but 3 people broke their arms, so they missed a day of work and have to go back.
Maybe it's because in Japan the Japanese man is weak.
And what are you basing this on?
You office wussy.
They broke their arms playing a video game.
Yeah.
Seriously. How pansy is that shit?
That just means they need to make a comeback and go back and beat the shit
It's
out
like
of that
it's like do a push up, man.
machine. One-armed.
Yeah.
Or do you have an arcade machine that will force you to do chin-ups?
Makes you do push-ups.
Maybe they should have started on the Hokuto no
And
Ken
then they
machine
could port it
first.
to home
Yeah.
consoles.
They
Yes,
should have
they
started on
should've
the
started on
Hokuto no Ken machine first and then worked their arms out,
Built up.
built
Yeah.
something else.
I think they would have been okay just playing Wii bowling.
When they say broke their arms, they didn't define what they did specifically, right? I mean, they didn't like snap a wrist or a femur. Or,
As
or like
far
a-
as I know, they broke their arm. It didn't say where, but
Yeah, it could have been just like a
twist
little
their
snap
elbow
or
from
something.
having position
A
wrong.
femur?
Not a femur. I mean, the long,
Maybe,
skinny
maybe
arm.
that's what the problem was. Yeah, they broke their femur. You're doing it wrong!
Just tell them I broke my arm. Oh, God, it hurts to sit.
so they broke their thorax, then, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah, it was a horrible thorax accident.
They blew out their hammer bone.
Yeah, maybe they got it confused with a different game and they were sticking the wrong thing in there.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
that's what it was.
they confused it with Oonga Boonga.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Oh God, I can't get it out.
This thing tells me my blood pressure, right?
So, in closing, we are terribly saddened by their loss and hope they'll be compensated fully.
And send that game over here where we can actually kick some ass.
Hey, send that game over here and pictures of how the hell you broke your arm.
That too.
Don't be this wuss.
Yeah, we need to use it as a cautionary tale.
I remember.
I guess
the
video
day.
games really do hurt you.
Blood on the video game.
Well, they hurt weak, pathetic Japanese. I mean,
We
So
don't.
that's why their nation is so degenerate. It's all the video games.
Oh.
breaking hearts and arms one at a time.
Jack Thompson was on to something. Oh, my God.
God.
He should sue Japan.
Blackleaf, no.
That
Okay,
would
anyway.
be pretty sweet. Can we export Jack Thompson to
Maybe
Japan?
he can subpoena the emperor.
Yeah, why isn't he all man at Japan? I always wondered.
I don't know.
Does he know where
can only
Japan
do one
is?
country at a time.
Because the arm wrestling machine has not caused any school shootings.
Wait, does he even
Well,
know
you
where
put a
Japan
gun
is?
in it.
I was going to say.
Yes, it's actually like it's called action movie, and it's got a big gun, and you have to wrestle the gun out of the armed hand.
All right, so moving.
Where's Riggs?
All right, so moving on. D3 publisher announces simple Wii series for Wii. I'm
Just how
surprised.
simple is that? Can you break an arm?
So is this aimed at like the 3 to 4 year old crowd to help them with trading for basic problems?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
How not to
yes.
break your arm.
Comes with some extra diapers.
What? You want to explain that reference?
No, not really.
Okay. So,
Fairly self-explanatory.
so the simple.
Well, they do keep making plastic snap-on accessories for the
They
remotes.
do.
Yeah. So the simple Wii series. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work out, but anyway, moving on.
Next
Next,
footnotes are out of order.
whatever. Are they?
No,
Well, I was looking for your footnote for 10, and it's actually about 11.
Well, there's not a footnote for every issue.
Well, you Still should have skipped a number.
Next.
I'm confused.
Oh, that's all right.
All right, moving right along.
Moving right along.
Yeah, well,
SNK
Murdock's-
Playmore announces Neo Geo game titles for Virtual Console.
Japan only.
God damn it! God!
So,
What, you don't have enough carts already?
Man, I gotta go buy an import Wii. Damn it!
or modulars.
What? And break the warranty?
Unspeakable.
Yeah.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
So in Japan 2007, each game will cost 900 Wii points, and the games are Goro Densetsu, World Heroes, and Magician Lord.
So
Well, at least two of them are
900 Wii points. What's that in clamshells?
God, Magician Lord is a virtual how cool is that? Man, we get so fucking gypped.
Well,
I mean, I've got it on my arcade, but still, it pisses me off. I'd much rather just play it on the virtual console.
It is, of course,
It
so
will
much
not make the
sweeter to
game
pay
easier.
for it instead of downloading the MAME ROM, which no one would ever do because it's immoral or something.
Or something.
Shut your mouth.
hey, I have it on the Neo Geo CD, okay?
Uh-huh.
Moving on, Kiki Kai Kai comes back, sort of. We told you some time ago that
here to
Kiki
begin
Kai Kai
with.
2 got canceled. Well, it's coming back, and it's called Kiki Kai Kai World. And it's going to be tweaked because apparently Square Enix now owns all of Taito's IPs.
Great.
Did you
So-
just say something? I'm not entirely sure
Oh,
because it didn't make any sense.
well,
It's foreign. Just let it go. It
Okay,
doesn't mean
well, can we just
anything
call
to
it KKK in the future? I think
No.
that'll really help identify the game and keep it clear.
actually be KKKK.
K4,
Yeah.
K to the fourth power.
It'd be KKK2, the
Is
sequel.
PAX K4.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's,
Square
it's
Enix.
Squeenix now.
K-Pax.
Yeah, Square Enix owns all of Taito stuff. That means they do now own Space Invaders.
So I might be able to look forward
Great.
to a really high-quality remake of Power Shovel, complete with freaky hairdos.
And really, really, really
I
elaborate
just want the power
CG
controller.
Yeah.
I
I
could
want
see
the
that.
twin sticks.
It'd be like 5-minute cutscenes in between shows where they hop out and they have this love story and angst between the Power Shovel drivers.
Yeah,
It could work.
yeah.
Yeah, and the Power Shovel would gain experience.
The Power Shovel
have,
drivers will all
materia
look like
slots for your,
girls.
you'd have materia slots for your backhoe. Is that how it's going to work?
I'm
just-
experience.
And you
with
can
pile of dirt
customize your
shovel.
hard hat.
Well, that once you've finished shoveling out the hole, you hear da 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 da
Yeah,
da da.
yep.
Although it would take an awful lot of chocobos to haul the Power Shovel around.
Though then again, it'd be great because now we can use the trademarked dialogue bit of ... from Squeenix.
Oh, Power Shovel, how I love you. ...
They're gonna have a Power Shovel as like an Esper or a Summon Beast in
Yes.
like the next Final Fantasy. That would be awesome.
Yes,
It'll
it's a
dig
Power
a hole
Shovel.
and bury you in it.
Square, if you're listening to us, please put these ideas in the next Final Fantasy.
But
Find
make sure
that back catalog. Mine it.
we have license to that idea. You owe us
Square the
$5 a
industrial
piece.
age.
Yeah.
Industrial tactics.
All right, moving on. Our next news bit is The Legend of Kage.
Cage.
Is to get a sequel on the DS, and is Kage, not Cage.
It's in the U.S. It's
When did
Cage.
that come
It's
out?
like
Was it
Cage
like
from here.
89, 90?
I
That
think
was like an original title on the NES.
oh
Oh my god.
it was arcade first, and then it came out on the NES around the time that Renegade came out.
It was Legend of Cage was about 87.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's baby. That's like 20 years.
it's still an awesome game.
Oh, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see what they can do with the DS, but
Well, we'll see.
it's amazing they bring something back like that after 20 years of nothing.
Well,
Running out of ideas.
Yeah,
Oh, the DS is just squeezing out as many games as it can.
Well,
possibly
I mean,
do.
the whole virtual console / Xbox Live is like a gold mine for reselling you games you bought before. So
yeah, true. So next up, I don't know if I want to pronounce this. Oboru Muramasa Yotoden Action RPG announced for Wii, and the only reason I have this is because it's made by the same people who brought us Odin Sphere and Princess Crown, which is very relevant to at least my interest and possibly John's.
I also did Grim Grimoire.
Yes, they did.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to see what they draw.
Yeah, and
Unfortunately, it's coming to the Wii, so I can't care too much.
Yeah.
well, we need a good.
That's your problem. You care too much.
What?
No, he
No,
said
he
he
doesn't care too much. I don't get it.
Quit harshing my squee, man.
No, Spinix was the
Would he be harshing
previous.
your Wii?
That was the KKK2. That's
You're only allowed to harsh your own Wii.
Hey, you're only allowed one error per podcast,
Yeah,
and then you're
and
taken
you're-
out back and shot. So
Yeah.
you just watch it, buddy. You're on thin ice.
That'll we force you to play the next game in our
we break
our
your
gaming
tongue.
news.
So our last news bit is that Megazone 23 game for the PS3 got a 15 out of 40 in
And you wonder why the PS3 is failing.
Oh, well, shocking. Another licensed game that got a poor score?
Well, I'm just mentioning this for Steve.
Well,
'cause
this
I'm sure-
doesn't even. I mean, come on. I mean, at least with some games, they try to license a movie that was somewhat good. Like Zone 23,
Or popular.
not good,
Well, Megazone 23 wasn't that bad.
not good.
No, it was. It was actually the first OAV that actually made money.
That doesn't mean it's good. Armageddon made a lot of money. And I don't want to miss a thing.
Actually, what they should have done is just given you a new version of the virtual reality game that they were playing in Megazone 23.
Oh, you mean Hard On?
Hard On.
Greatest name for a video game ever.
Amusingly, that was the only episode of 23 that didn't have a sex scene and naked boobies. So.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. But
So, what's this game rated?
what now?
What's this game rated then?
Rated as far as what?
Well, if the anime was full of naked chicks and boobies, how'd they manage to put off the video game here?
It has nothing to do with the OAV. That's how.
Oh, quality.
Yeah.
Made a
So-
fail.
Yeah, even the character designs are not done by the same
I don't
person.
think it would
So
get a
they
15 out of
licensed
40
it
if there was.
Yeah, but they
nudity
changed
involved.
character designers 3 times. I mean, come on.
Well, that's a
Well,
sign of
that's
quality
true.
production.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have like 3 different animation studios too?
This is why
Basically.
this it only serves to future to more, back up my whole deal of it might have been successful, but it wasn't good.
Well, we are dealing with a licensed product here as well, so not like we're building on a huge.
I guess they
Back,
weren't getting any
you know.
more money from Robotech the movie, so they had to go license it out somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, quality is job number 3. Let's try something else.
All
That
right.
would be Job Song.
Yeah, quality is job go, and that doesn't mean good.
Yeah. So next up are game topics, and our first topic is does hardcore equal hard games, and conversely, does casual equal easy games? And this was off a forum that I read that basically they're saying, well, all the hardcore games are real hard and blah, 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 and all the casual games are easy, blah, blah,
It's
blah.
in the
blah,
title,
blah.
hardcore.
I don't think it's that cut and dry, is it?
I think most of the time it is.
I think just hardcore is just you have to have at least some
Wait, what's
degree
a casual game again?
Oh my god.
I don't know. Quick, let's rewind to a previous podcast and go through that discussion.
I think you broke Murdock.
I mean, seriously, we talked about what's a casual game for about a half an hour, and never
No, we
came to a
didn't.
conclusion.
We never talked about that.
I told you, you broke him. You broke him.
Did we? I don't remember.
Yeah, we did.
Dude, you put the podcast together. You forget them already?
Well,
I'm
if
just
you've done
amazed that
31 of
Steve
them,
remembers this.
Next
Because
thing you tell us,
don't you forget every
I
podcast
do.
immediately
I
afterward?
do. I really do.
Okay, so
I think we broke Steve.
all right, for those of people playing at home, casual game, easy to pick up, easy to play, right?
Like Xbox Live Arcade.
I think that's a tautology.
Well, I don't know if it'd
That's
be
a generalization,
it'd
but yeah.
be easy to pick up and easy to put down.
except
Well,
It
you
doesn't
talking
need
like a-
necessarily need
Yeah,
to.
but
didn't
casual-
listen to our casual gaming discussion either.
No, I just completely disagree with you.
did.
Well, okay. We have said that the casual games,
'Cause,
even
you
though
know-
they are easy to play, they are meant to be played for very long periods of time.
It's like puzzle games.
The
and
casual
such.
gamers actually play games as much, if not more, than hardcore gamers. We've got
Yeah.
solid statistics on this. Average play session is 3 to 4 hours. It was kind of surprising when it came out, but we know it's true. The main difference, as far as I know, between hardcore games and casual games, which I think Murdock was getting at, was that with hardcore games, you have to have a lot of experience with the genre coming into it. With a casual game, you can learn to play it easily. The game might not be easy, might have a lot of depth, but you can learn how to play in 5 minutes.
And that's where you get the long periods of time of playing it. Once you start learning to play it, you get into it, you enjoy it, you play it more and more, and it brings you back.
Well,
Just
I figure
casually, you're not...
it's like a slot machine, you know? You don't need to really know how to play the slot machine. Because you can pick it up, you put the coin in, and there's shiny buttons, and you press them.
It's not necessarily that shallow, because you can take something like, say,
Yeah,
Tetris or Hexic.
There's lots of strategy to pick the slot machines, man.
Oh, yeah, there's rubbing it, blessing it, drawing a little cross in the air on it, you know,
humping
tapping
it
on the side, and
humping it madly when it gives you some money.
wishing sweet
Beating the old
nothings into
granny
it.
on the back of the head when she wins and stealing all her money.
Her stuff, yeah. These are skills honed after years of practice.
After playing with your lever.
Yes.
Okay.
The one-armed bandit.
Hey, how come there's not a slot machine simulator for the Wii yet?
Because they need to make this whole plastic
wait a minute.
accessory so the remote snaps into it to really get that pull sensation. Though they don't even have levers anymore, right?
Yeah, they still
some
have
do.
levers.
You know,
they keep it for the old.
They call those are called the hardcore. The hardcore. That's the hardcore slot machines.
But you have to have previous experience with the genre.
Yes, exactly.
You see how we tied it all back to the topic, Murdock? Aren't you proud?
Wow, it just makes you feel a little warm inside.
No,
We're trying, Murdock. We're trying.
Okay, so
We're retards. We don't know what we're doing here.
okay, so does hardcore equal hard games necessarily?
No.
Okay, and why?
Take a look at one of the
Runner's
FPSs
broke.
that is fairly straightforward. Something like, say, Halo 2. The single-player campaign in that wasn't difficult by the standards of an FPS. But if you take somebody who would go into the standard definition of casual gamer, they would give up in like 30 seconds. Because controlling an FPS on a console is hard if you don't already have the decade of experience with making both analog sticks move at the same time.
Or you like it on PC.
Well, you're even an example of somebody who has a lot of FPS experience and still finds that controller scheme difficult.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
This is an example. It's more about familiarity and experience than it is about difficulty.
Well, it's also a matter of can you pick it up easily, and can you put it down easily? You know, when the boss walks by, when you
What?
yeah,
No.
no,
Would you say that Hexic, for instance, is a casual game?
no.
Why not?
Oh wait, Hexic. I'm sorry. I thought you said Hexen for some reason.
No, Hexen is not a game at all.
No, he's talking about the puzzle game. Yeah, Hexic.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that an
That's a
average
perfect
playthrough will
example.
probably take you about an hour. You're not going to drop out of this easily. Getting to the actual top score on that, I can't do it. I swear I'm a hardcore gamer. I got the shelf full of games to prove it.
Well, Teinohara Resort does not count.
I'm probably the exception to that because I love puzzle games and I can rock and roll in that game.
Yeah, but
It's
have
a
you
lot.
gotten the Grand Poobah of the South Seas?
I haven't tried long enough.
Haven't
what I'm
gotten
saying.
a what?
I spent some hours on it, but I haven't. Another game comes out and you drop it, and then another game comes out, you drop that one. I never finish them.
To get to that top level of achievement in that game, you have to break about the 5,000 on the Xbox Live leaderboard. I mean, that's just the basic point where your score gets high enough to have made that achievement.
If I sat down and focused on it, which I'll probably do after surgery next week, I bet I could get to that point. But
I
yeah,
don't think
you
it
just
counts
gotta
as a
focus
casual
on
game if the last time when you need to be in major surgery to focus on it. It's like I'm incapacitated and literally can't move from this spot. Well, Hexen!
Well, what would
Hexic.
now? Here's the question though: would a hardcore gamer have more average gaming time than a casual gamer?
They don't, actually.
They do not.
That's just the point
For
of the study.
the
It was
time of
actually
play
even.
sessions and how much time they spend playing, they just play different games. They don't play them less.
So hardcore may mean
'Cause
that
I would
you're
just-
playing WoW every night for 4 hours, whereas the casual gamer does Hexen one night or plays something on a portable the next day.
Well, WoW's kind
But
of
it's
a
just
weird
casual.
deal
Well,
because
yeah,
WoW markets their game is half marketed to casual gamers and half marketed to
because
hardcore.
they can just wander. They
Yeah,
can
but
wander in.
hardcore is
and-
one that plays it every night for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah,
Just
but the
guaranteed
game
that
is
that's the one.
the game
I
is
don't know if
designed
that's
for
That's
something
actually a
like
pretty
this.
slim definition of hardcore. I don't think any of us qualify for that one, actually.
We simply don't have the time.
Well,
Precisely.
we have
yeah,
jobs
I mean-
and stuff like that.
Well, right, but that
Well-
doesn't mean that that you get to readjust the definition based on how much free time you personally have. Hardcore, the difference between hardcore one of the main differences between hardcore in WoW and casual in WoW is when you pick your characters, you actually look at level 70 and go, well, at level 70, I'm going to need to have these stats, even though the stats are only one number off at the beginning. The hardcore players care because it makes a difference at 70. Most of the casual players will never get to 70.
Yeah,
They'll never get to 50.
Exactly.
So...
So, with hardcore,
So, in other words, we've concluded nothing yet again about hardcore versus casual gaming.
well,
Yeah, and you brought this up again, Murdock.
It's too broad a generalization.
yeah, but
for-
we're saying that a hardcore game is not necessarily going to be hard as in difficulty.
Well,
correct?
no, because it could suck. It could be
what's-
kill switch.
Well, because it's totally obvious that a casual game can be hard.
Yeah.
And a hardcore game can be easy.
Yeah. Tetris.
I like pie.
Do you, Tetris?
Tetris.
Do you consider Tetris a hard game?
It can be.
Once you get up there, yeah.
well, it depends on how fast it's going.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
That could be a hard game.
Classic arcade gaming in general is a good example of casual games.
Pac-Man.
I mean, they were all there at the beginning,
I don't
so they
consider
were all
those
meant to be
casual
able to
games
be-
because there was nothing else before then, so we had nothing to go by. I mean,
That doesn't mean that they're not casual.
well,
Yeah.
Because they were all built so that you could learn how to play them in 30 seconds. You could put your quarter in, and you knew how to play.
well, except for
that was part
Defender.
of the pull, yeah.
Your mother played the game? It's not hard.
My mom doesn't play any video games.
My mom did.
Yes,
Amazingly
Mom
enough.
plays Centipede. I mean,
Well, I bought her a cabinet, man. She kind of had to play it.
By the way,
big.
by the way, for those of you listening,
Which
that
are
was
nobody.
that was Emily. She was in podcast number 20, talking about her ginger pill experiment and doing a two-minute
she'll be
review
on-
on Tomb Raider.
Well,
And
You
then
mean
we-
2-second review?
That'd also be Roger's one Asian at a time.
yeah, or one and only Asian at the time.
Yeah, you'll have to listen to the podcast, Emily.
I love the look on her face.
Wait till you see the look when she hears the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
All right, so moving on.
I mean degraded.
possibly.
No,
No,
not
you
you.
were degraded.
No,
We're
not
past
you.
that.
No, not you. Just all the Asians in the world.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you just kind of fell into that grouping, unfortunately.
well. Seuss isn't white.
Well, other brown people think you're white.
Okay, anyways.
Moving on. Our next
Topic number 2.
yes, the Microsoft plus DRM issues. John, you brought this up, and it really cheesed your hide. What's going on with this?
Cheesed your hide.
He could blow a wad on it
I don't
right
even
now.
know what that means.
I think it's got something to do with wheeze and scrubbing. I don't know.
New York
Sounds
City?
bad.
Get a rope.
But anyway, so here's my quick little rant for why you shouldn't buy stuff off Xbox Live Arcade.
The opinions of John do not necessarily affect the views of the Hard Gamer Associates. Well,
They
go
might
on.
when I'm done.
Yeah, but they probably do.
Okay.
So here's the issue. So we all know that the 360 has some reliability issues.
No! I thought the red rings were just for pretty.
Well, Christmas comes along, you want to be able to get some red and green, liven everything up.
I'd
It's
like to
for
point
cheer.
out that Roger has now left the podcast to go make out with his wife.
Roger has left the podcast.
You can fuck the Asian later.
He's doing his Takayaki impersonation from Urutsuki Doji.
What the hell was that?
I was
It's like a
pretty sure it
small
was like-
elephant over there.
I was gonna
The
vote
Republican
giraffe.
Party is invaded!
Well, the Republican Party likes to fuck minorities too.
Oh my my goodness, we have been zinged. What? All right, let's get on with
All right,
it.
let's talk about the red rings of death.
DRM issues and what
Well-
you can do to stop the issue.
So now that we've seen some pretty good estimates that our failure rate on an Xbox 360 is about 25 to 33%, which is pretty hard.
Yeah, it's pretty bad for consumer electronics.
That equates to about $1 billion.
Coincidentally.
1.05 even.
1.28.
I don't want to make him sound bad,
1.21 gigadollars.
Yes, exactly.
So we know that a lot of people are having trouble with their consoles and are having to ship them back for warranty repair. I'm one of them. And I got to experience a particular joy of the 360 DRM scheme, which is that when you buy things off Xbox Live Arcade, they're licensed both to your gamer tag and to your console. This lets you play them, say when Xbox Live is down, when your internet connection isn't up, when you just haul your box somewhere else and want to play it. Unfortunately, when they returned my box under warranty, like a lot of other people, they gave me a different box with a different serial number. And amazingly, they have no process in place to transfer the license for your DRM content.
Meaning you can't play everything you've downloaded or saved on there anymore.
Unless you're connected to Xbox Live at the time.
Exactly.
I've got an unreliable wireless connection at home. That drops in the middle of playing a game. You get kicked back out to trial mode. It's pretty sweet.
That's
But
awesome.
it gets better.
My girlfriend used to play stuff under her tag. Can't do that anymore. So, call them up.
Excellent.
The tech support techs, despite this being a continuing problem since 2005, really not aware of it. I had to go online to research the solution so I could tell them what Microsoft's workaround is.
That's always fun.
These techs weren't out of the country, were they?
I think only half of them were. It's kind of uncertain who you get when you go through there. I did like how the Xbox Live support agent kept directing me to the Xbox hardware support when I asked for Xbox Live support. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, there's no ingrained learning there.
Yeah.
Well,
Somebody's called and complained about the Xbox. Oh, must have a problem with their hardware.
Despite
It's
the
not our
fact
problem,
that-
it's hardware's problem.
Yep.
Despite the fact I tell the automated system Live, it gives me the list of live problems, I pick one, and it sends me to Xbox hardware support. Minor complaint, I now know how to get them to transfer me to Live quite quickly.
What do you say, hardware support?
Yeah.
Is there a GameFAQs FAQ for this? Is there
Yes,
like
there is.
is there like a
Seriously.
is there like a decision tree for this?
Yeah.
Oh my god. If
I
there
would-
isn't, you should write one.
It's like choose your own adventure.
I haven't seen something on GameFAQs, but there is a blog that a irate customer put together called brokenxblm.blogspot.com, where he keeps track of the issue and lets people post about their experiences. Their workaround for it, by the way, is you create a new Silver account. They will eventually, people report this taking a month or two, credit that account with a number of Microsoft points equal to the number of things that you purchased previously so that you can repurchase your content. I might mention that people who, for instance, took advantage of the GameStop or EB warranty programs and swapped their console back out or upgraded to the Elite are fucked. Simply no solution available.
Yeah.
Congratulations, DRM helps you as the consumer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And GameSpot doesn't. Surprise.
Lovely. So now, when did your Xbox decide to blink red?
I ate it in July.
It was seeing red in July.
Took about 4 weeks for the whole process to get the box
And
shipped
this
out
was
and back.
Due to the whole, it was overheating.
I got
thing.
the classic overheating symptoms. My screen went checkerboard, and it started flashing 3 red rings on
So
it.
now this begs the question: do they know about the problem, and it's not?
Well, they know about the problem. They're
It's
just
got a
ignoring it.
Microsoft knowledge base article.
Do they know about the problem and choose to ignore it because it's not a high enough priority and it doesn't fit into the $1.05 billion budget they've got? Or 2, do they know about the problem and they just can't fix it because they don't know how to fix the problem, so they're ignoring it based on that?
Well, first of all, the whole red ring of death is 800-pound gorilla. They know it exists, but they're ignoring it.
Well,
Well, this is just one minor issue within that, though. That's what I'm saying.
but
is it
well,
not a high
it's
enough
all related.
priority for
It's
them
all
to
related
fix?
to the was it
No,
the
the
die
DRM
shrink?
No, the DRM problem is because they don't want to acknowledge publicly that DRM isn't great for the consumer.
Well, fix it. It'll still be great. I mean,
they're
this
not
isn't
gonna-
something that's hard for Microsoft to get around. They've gotten around bigger problems and made themselves still come out smelling like roses.
Well, Bill Gates does
Well-
not smell that well. Okay.
the part that shocks me about it is, I mean, when I send the thing in for warranty repair, they've got my console. They've got the new one
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
How
Whatever
hard is it to
system they've
program
got.
one to the
Yeah.
other? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they know the issue is there, but they can't fix it.
Well,
they just don't
should
have some way to fix it. There's no workaround for it.
Well, I'm
Well,
sure
they
when
should
they
be able to. I mean, how hard would it be to say, "Oh, this person, we fixed this under warranty. Maybe we better fix their Xbox
I
Live."
I'm
don't think
sure
it's a
that-
matter of fixing. I think it's a matter of transferring the information from one to the other. I don't
well,
think they
it's
can
gotta
turn
be
that
the
on.
license that has
Yeah.
to be transferred.
There's something in
over
there that
and-
they've got to change
Which has to be
programming
in
wise.
the live database for
Well,
it.
I think what it really boiled down to is when they decided to when they created the workflow process to replace the Xboxes, they didn't take this in mind, and it would cost them more than it actually is worth to re-engineer the process of switching them out.
And it's probably
And-
not a high enough priority with everything
And
else they're fixing.
I bet you their thought process is that if people really want the stuff and it's that much of a pain, they'll just buy it again.
Possibly.
through another account.
Or they'll be like me and many other irate people who spend hours and hours on customer support and probably end up costing far more than.
Well, that
or
may be
worse.
the case, but it's probably in a different, it's a different accounting page. So whatever.
I say you get online like every other Yahoo, go post your thing on YouTube and how pissed and irate you are, and then post it everywhere you can, because that seems to change some other companies' minds. It's had a big effect on certain companies that have ignored consumers.
They'll just send a DMCA takedown notice to YouTube saying that you're using Microsoft's name without license.
Stranger things have happened.
Don't post the name, just show a pic.
Just call them $M$.
Yeah, $M.
Yeah, everybody knows what that is.
That'll make people take you seriously.
Yeah.
It always works on those flame threads.
Yeah.
I think M Bling Bling was working my box and they dissed my DRM.
Oh dear.
And you want a PSP for Christmas? Okay then.
Now, a quick question, John. Is the overheating is still prevalent? It's still with the whole die shrink, and it's overheating because they put one chip on top of another or something like that. What's the deal? Is that still the case? Because I know that
had a
they
chip
changed
and
like
they
the
didn't put a heatsink on
well,
it. I mean, really, it was
And
boiled
it's just
down
right
to
next to the power source. doesn't
yeah.
it?
They had
The
Power supply
outgoing-
is external.
Not the power supply, but it sits next to something. I think it's a hard drive that gets hot on its own.
The DVD drive is
Or
sitting
DVD
on top
drive.
of the one chip.
Yeah.
That's why they couldn't fit a heatsink on it.
yeah.
But as far as we know, it's overheating. It heats up enough that it'll maybe it warps the board, pops contacts loose. Maybe there's loose soldering things. We've heard all sorts of theories about it, but mainly it sounds like the thing gets too hot. They have, at least for some of the repaired consoles, managed to stick a second heatsink in there, and that seems to have helped some people. There's also the upcoming
I think
die
that's
shrink.
because there was there's a newer DVD drive in there that's actually thinner. There's some way they were able to make more space with the upgrade, but they're not doing it on everything that gets sent in. They're only doing it on newer systems that you buy.
And
Because I saw that on I think it was Ben Heck's website, showing
Well, there
that
were
they took it apart and you could see, if you look, he told you how to look into the top of your Xbox and tell which drive you have because you could see a tab for it.
Well, there's been a couple guys who actually opened up their things after they got them back, and they had like a heatsink on
new
them.
heatsink
They're just
was
not
added
doing
in.
it for everybody, though.
It was only done for repairs. It hasn't been done for any of the new machines, as far as I know. So it'll probably be a bit until we actually see that re-engineering, and maybe then they'll get it kind of stomped out. Because, I figure they sold 11 million of them, and they're planning to replace 4.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's kind of shocking, really.
best defect rate ever.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Thanks, Microsoft.
All right. So next up,
At least they're replacing them.
all right. So next up, we have Roger talking about why he's a freak.
Yeah, you some sort of weird mutant-ass freak over there. Do we need to put you down to save the gene pool?
Do you shop at Ned's Leftorium?
So wait, this is about Mac gaming? Oh wait, there's no Mac games. Never mind.
Hey, I love Marathon. Oh, wait.
It gets boring after the 5th time.
It's okay. Marathon's been ported to the 360 now. You don't need to own a Mac anymore.
Yeah, but the sad thing is I get motion sick off that damn thing.
I promise I
It wasn't
won't
very good.
reinstall
Yeah.
Deus Ex again. I promise.
You get no respect.
No respect
Have you
whatsoever.
heard any respect in this podcast so far? Stop rooting from the gallery back there.
All right. So what is this
You
about?
didn't hear what he said about you earlier, so you don't have no place to go.
Slap each and every one.
Okay. So tell us about your disability here, Roger.
My disability, yeah, because I'm like 10% of the population.
He
That's
has
a
to play with his
disability.
Wii with his left hand.
Actually, I use my right. But anyway, no. What brought this up was when
I'm done.
the hot new when the hot new game came out recently, known as BioShock,
Oh yeah,
at which I ended up with a nice little shock that, well, this nice
it's
FPS
a Bioshock.
this nice FPS game does not have a left-handed mode on it.
That's okay. We don't like left-hand people anyway.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, neither does Bioshock.
Well, left-handed people just have to play the game the way the designers intended.
The way God intended.
Good point. Oh, he's the designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously he screwed something up.
His recall rate's really bad.
Man, the bump
Are
mapping
you
on this
saying God
on
screwed
this
you up? That's pretty harsh on yourself, dude.
the anti-aliasing
Really?
for the Rocky Mountains is just not that good.
It's not.
Yeah. We need a higher resolution for the world.
So anyway, now that you've completely thrown me off,
Yeah, that tends to happen.
my mutant ability. Well, the part of the problem is it goes back to we were talking about playing FPSs on PCs. Well, on the PCs, I used the mouse to look around and the keyboard to move. Well,
Like everyone else.
Yeah, except for the fact that I use my left hand for the mouse and my right hand for the keyboard.
Well,
and
we'll have
that
to strap it
actually
behind your back.
translates into how I handle the controllers.
Sniping.
Camping snipey bitch?
Camping snipey bitch.
Yeah, just because I kept kicking your ass. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's what was happening.
so anyway, but the
Well,
problem
when you
is
camp
I
the
have
spawn point, that happens, you know?
You just
It
go
does.
to the
Spawn-
territory.
spawn points in Halo. Okay. Anyway, the problem is that this isn't just limited to just BioShock. I ended up, you were giving me shit about Deus Ex. Well, Deus Ex 2, that game did not have a left-handed mode as well.
What was I saying about Deus Ex?
Nothing. We were talking about Mac gaming and the fact that that was one of the two games that
Marathon.
came out. Yeah, Marathon and Deus Ex. But yeah, go on, Roger.
So anyway, there was that. The live version of Doom does not have a left-handed mode either, even though the Doom 3 does, fortunately, or I never would have gotten through it.
Apparently you lefties were just not meant to beta test.
Yeah, something like that. Or maybe some people are just pretty freaking lazy in their programming.
Well,
Ooh,
why
gee, just have to swap a couple
why
of...
would you spend the man hours to make a change in video games that only applies to at most 10% of the population?
well, gee, what's 10% of 100,000?
Well, not even all left-handed gamers prefer that mode. I definitely see a lot of people out there who are left-handed who, well, deal.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
that's
plus,
nice, but
it's
there's
like
also
10%
some...
of 100,000 is 10,000, but 90% of 100,000 is 90,000.
Yeah,
And
but that's
that'll
still
pretty much make it up.
10,000 games that they're not selling.
Yeah, but you still managed to play the demo on the 360 fairly well.
Yeah, but it was an easy mode, and B, I had a splitting headache for the next 3 hours.
It all
I
comes
mean,
down to profitability and
Yeah,
how much money they're going to make. I mean, if it takes
all
if you've
they
got a
have to
whole team of
do,
programmers making
all
up the
they
thing,
have to do is
and-
give the ability to flip the sticks. There's enough of the other games that are able to do that. So
Well,
why
maybe
are
they're-
they so damn
maybe
lazy
they're
about doing
programmers.
Halo 4?
They hate
You gotta
it,
face
They,
it, Roger.
they really do.
Maybe
just
their
not-
programmers
We
cost
talked
so
to them one
much
day
that
about
it's not
you,
economically
and they really,
viable to
they
do.
just don't like you.
You gotta face it, Roger. You're just not profitable.
Yeah.
It's very personal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of sorry about screwing out the rest of the left-handed population,
but
for you,
they'll do it.
Yeah.
Just to screw
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I see. That's how it works, huh?
Pretty much.
I really think he's got a point. I think when they look at the numbers, it wasn't worth the time to guarantee another 10% of people.
Programmers are
So,
expensive.
I think that's basically it.
Haven't there been some hardware workarounds for this?
Somewhat, yeah, but let's see. There was that left-handed controller that you got for me, which I don't think that managed to last a week, unfortunately.
Well,
Before the thumbsticks went completely kablooey.
Is it not the case that you managed to find the left-handed option for the 360?
Well, that only works if that's embedded in the code.
They're trying. Throwing you a bone, man.
Yeah, well, that bone doesn't help me play BioShock now, does it?
Well,
Or Fear, or hell, most of the demos that come out.
Get your rights as a natural human being, I know.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I actually see this complaint not as often from left-handed people as I do from N64 diehards who got so used to playing GoldenEye that they really resent having to swap their controller configuration.
Well, there's some other people. I mean,
Boo-hoo.
there's, as a matter
Sorry,
of fact,
you have to learn a new controller scheme for a different game.
well, says some of the people who are bitching about having to learn how to use a console controller for their FPSs. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
we
recognize this
found
is an
hardware
unreasonable
workarounds for that
demand.
one too.
Indeed.
Frag box!
Which is still stuff in place, by the way.
Yeah. Dig it out, bitch.
It's sitting right on the top of a shelf in my room.
Oh, okay.
Well, and the other thing is that this applies also to other things as well. A lot of the
doorknobs.
Thread over.
oh.
You did know what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah, I know.
You
Unfortunately, I'm not exactly in the position of power here.
Totally harsh your squee, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
It also applies to blind people.
And the deaf. Man, we hate the fucking deaf.
Yeah, because really, blind culture.
can hear this,
I'm
they'd
all
be
about
so
blind
pissed.
culture, but deaf culture sucks.
Go on, Roger, please.
Okay.
The left-handed door to open.
Yeah. Getting
Smoke
left-handed.
shifters.
I'm getting left-handed bitch smacked here. So.
You won't find any left-hand jobs here.
I always liked in high school when our Boy Scout camp we would make the newbies go look for a left-handed smoke shifter.
What?
A left-handed smoke shifter.
I think your last option is to petition the government as a disabled minority that needs special protection.
Oh, we do, man. I can't help it. I was born this way.
Yeah, but we'll get a bunch of nuns to slap you into the proper God-handed manner.
Yeah, and then I can pee all over everything. Great.
That's awesome.
Well,
And then I can just sit there and stutter all the time too.
Well,
Great.
You know, then you could really say you are a disadvantaged.
It worked for Mel Blanc.
Well, what they'll do is they'll siphon all the money that they're using for stem cell research to cure Alzheimer's, and they'll start curing left-handed people.
Yes, by grafting a second right hand onto their left hand. It's like just take one off, and here's a right hand from somebody that didn't make
Why
it.
not just slop them off at the elbows and swap them?
Yeah, there you go.
I wonder if that'll work for the gays, too.
You gonna switch testicles?
Yeah, what exactly what are we replacing in that situation?
I think that's known as gender reassignment.
Who wants Damien's dick?
Not me.
So get with your point here, Roger.
Get to the
Well,
part where you
there's-
pee.
Yeah. The other part is that there's other things such as some of the flight sticks, flight simulators. You have to make sure that you don't get the right-handed flight
tech.
sticks to be able to play because the way a lot of the buttons are configured.
Are there
Well, the
not
grips on the
left-handed airplane pilots?
I would assume so, yes.
You know what I think they would say? Quit your bitching.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, okay, Roger.
Go fly a
Well,
plane.
okay, well, all right, well. Now, I remember that there was some flight sticks when I used to work at EB a long, long time ago, where they had different, setups where you could actually change it around, where you could have, the thruster thingy or the yolky thingy or whatever.
I like
the
how you're
thrusters-
moving your hands a lot.
The thrusters
and
normally
nobody
designed
can see it.
around the left hand, but they had ones where it was centered on the stick itself, so you grabbed it with 2 fingers to either side, and that made it universal. I think that's what you're talking about.
Was that the problem that you were having, or was it more of just if it was like a set? I mean, are we talking like Steel Battalion type of thing, or
Well, still,
Stupid hell, you gotta use both hands, man.
Yeah.
They better both work.
well, you got to use both hands for most of the FPSs as
I think he's
well.
talking
But I'm
more
talking
like
about.
Hori's set up for like
I'm
Ace
talking
Combat
about
5.
like the Thrustmasters, the
Don't buy
the
those.
the big deluxe. Yeah,
They're kind of
But-
bad. They're kind of cheaply made.
But the base point is that a lot of that is architecturally designed around right-handed, left thrust people, and you can't swap those controls. You have to make a universal setup.
well, let me ask a question.
Or
and
make
this-
a specific other-handed one.
Yeah.
Well,
Some did do better.
well,
There-
you
there's a
can
lot of
find
these
them,
on
but
flight sims.
well, you can find them, but man, it's rare to do, and
Well,
it's
there's-
I mean, and you can't.
Well,
It's
not
kind
a
of
big
the
market.
Yeah, flights. Yeah, it's not a big market. Once again, it comes down to economics.
It literally does. They're not going to make that much money on
Oh,
left-handed.
okay. Well, let me ask you a question. This is meant for some people who know more about programming in general. How hard is it? I mean, really, to literally just map
Swap code?
map a
It
controller
depends
to make it.
wildly on how you did your code.
It's probably pretty straightforward. It's probably more that it's more of a pain in the ass to make a system to remap controls at all than
Yeah.
it is to just ignore the issue.
Well, it can't be that hard because they already give you the options to assign whatever buttons you want.
No.
So
How hard is it to make a good game, or one that's bug-free, or one that makes its ship date, or one that's out by Christmas, or one that makes the E3 demo they got to get done?
Well, instead, it boils down to instead of making it so that all of your controls send specific signals when hit by certain buttons, you got to put variables in instead, and the variables have to be able to be reassigned, and they have to be passed and referenced throughout the whole game correctly.
Developers have to care, too.
Yeah.
Which we saw when with Zelda that came out on the Wii, when it went to the GameCube version, you actually saw that the Link was actually left-handed, and the whole game played left-handed, but they had to swap that entire game
they
for
had
the
to
Wii.
flip the whole game horizontally, just because the majority of people that were playing the Wii was going to be
They
right-handed.
used up all the overclocking in the Wii CPU.
Was it possible they switched the entire code for the game?
No, I don't think so. I think
How did they flip it then?
Mirrored all the art assets.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
probably
much.
took them a little while.
Yeah.
Well, they probably wrote a script and ran it overnight. But still.
Yeah, it ran on a graphics rendering farm probably, but it really boils down to the fact that it's like being gay. Sure, you're only 10% of the population, but the difference there is gays have a lot of money.
What?
So left-handed people need to get richer to solve this problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
once they
yes.
become a rich
Maybe
part of the
left
population,
people should
they'll
get
have a
left-handed people
speech,
should get
a
into
say.
fashion or interior design or something else that's stereotypically homosexual.
They get you a logo.
Yeah, get yourself a shape and a
You
color.
gotta merchandise
yeah. Here's
yourself,
my
buddy.
logo right
You
here.
need a shape and a color. If you had a shape and a color, it'd all be okay.
And a
Yeah.
ribbon.
And a chant.
You got to be able to merchandise yourself, man. Make yourself commercial, viable, edible.
You want to pimp your website now?
Pimp my website.
You pimped it earlier.
Yeah, other
I-
left-handed people can go there and it'll work correctly for them.
I miss the old days back when they used to flip bonga around so everybody in Japan looked like they were left-handed. But the other thing is that
You feel better or something?
yes, it does actually.
Is that like when I was a kid watching MASH, so I call people that look like me?
Okay, blow it up.
Wait, you look like Hawkeye?
Hot Lips Houlihan? You don't look anything like her.
She's Klinger. She's a dead ringer for Klinger.
So actually, if you're interested in some of these topics, there is a website that has been
Nobody's interested.
yeah, whatever.
Only 10%
For
of
the
these
for the
people.
10% of the population that might be listening
Well,
to this.
10% of 0 is pretty small.
Yeah, there is that.
That's true.
I was going to
10% of
say.
two, our odds of left-handed listenership are pretty low.
Is that like our deaf listenership?
Yes.
Say what?
You guys tomorrow.
Oh, left-handed.
I will say you're wrong too.
But
It's
you can
okay.
check.
Our website is down, so you know.
So you can check out altcontrolgamer.com, and it's spelled out
Shape into color.
ALTCNTRLGMR. And this isn't just for people who for left-handers. It's for anybody who wants to be able to modify their controls. There's some people that have said, well, they need the left-handed mode because, well, they're missing fingers and they need to be able to play.
I mean, you do bring up some
smaller
valid points. I mean,
Yeah, even smaller market share.
Yeah.
Well, not after the Iraq War, it's not going to be. I mean, come on, people.
they've played their game.
Jeez.
War is not a
Yeah,
game,
we
man.
haven't- we haven't
War
affected
is
them
not
yet.
a game.
They were in Fallujah and waited for the loading screen. They're okay.
Yeah. Here's your shape right here, Murdock. Or Murdock.
Well, I don't know who you insulted there.
Here's your Roger.
When you stick your finger in a
It's-
pile of goo
you want-
that was once your friend, then you'll know what to do.
It's guacamole colored and like a
Roundish.
kind of nipple shaped. Green nipples.
You're leaking my
Yeah,
guacamole.
your
all over the
guacamole's
place.
leaping everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Ew.
It's like squishing a bug.
All right, what do we got here? Let's do some reviews.
Fucking bug man.
Well,
Let's do some reviews. before
sorry about
the
that, Roger. We
guacamole
tried.
comes out.
No, I didn't expect anything less.
You're 10% of the population and 20% of the podcast. Does that make you feel any better?
I will say that I did find the best controller ever for all of these issues. I bet there weren't a whole lot of people that bought it anyway, though.
The Aura Interactor? Yeah, no one bought it.
You.
See, that's the
Is that
other
like
thing.
another one of those Wii Snap-on accessories?
If somebody
Just slides in.
What a Wii Snap type model?
Well, the thing is, the only time I've seen left-handed controllers or any kind of controllers, like I think I know which one you're going to be mentioning, is I've only seen them on for the PS2.
Yes.
If somebody would make one for the 360, I would be very grateful. Now, the problem is that I've seen the schematics as to what you have to solder and switch around in a 360 controller, and I'm not that confident in my skills.
I could
Thank
have
you.
swore when I was looking at Micro Center that they had a list of about 6 lefty controllers for 360. Because I typed in 360 remote control, and for some reason got a whole bunch of controllers, and like 5 of them were lefties.
I've yet to find any sort of left-handed controller for the 360 or even their original Xbox, for that matter. The only reason that I was able to even play the one that Krukov gave me was for was an adapter for the
For any PS2 to
For-
Xbox.
yeah.
Which, they definitely, last generation, they had a number of adapters available that would go between basically all of the consoles, except the GameCube, because nobody liked the GameCube enough.
Yeah.
Well, that controller wasn't the most stellar thing either, so...
And there just weren't people clamoring to use it on other consoles. So I would expect, wait 2 years or so.
Yeah.
The consoles will be more popular. There'll be more products out there. It'll work better.
Well, one
Games will
would.
be cheaper.
It's like being a Mac gamer.
Yeah.
You just gotta wait a while.
Yeah, wait a while. Then you'll.
Well, it's not like
Get the
there's
leftovers.
it's not like there's any PC games out anyway, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
But the best one that I found, I believe, do you remember the name of this? I believe it's called like the Phoenix. But it was a PS2 controller, third party, where each one of the separate pieces for it, the D-pad, the analog sticks, the buttons, was a removable module that could be reinserted at any place in the controller.
You turn it counterclockwise, it unlocks, and you can just pop it out and move it over to another slot within the 4 slots that are available.
And not only that, but you could also adjust the sensitivity on the analog sticks. Aside from some minor quality issues, because it was a third-party controller, it's
a little more
the
bulky,
most flexible design I've ever seen for a controller.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating product. I bought one. I'm not even left-handed.
That nobody bought.
All right. So moving on, we have a couple of quick reviews, and Brian's going to start with Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. So tell us about this Wii game.
Well, answer the burning question. Does she get naked?
Not yet.
Oh, crap. Why are you playing it there, man?
You can see her naked face on the inside of the visor when you switch to a certain screen, but that's about it. No, this has got to be one of the coolest games on the Wii. I was so psyched about this when I heard about it, but I was a little hesitant because I didn't know how I was going to play with the control scheme, but it works amazingly well. I didn't think I'd ever play another game FPS-wise on a console that worked as well as Gears of War did and enjoy it. And the way the Wiimote and the nunchuck work on this are just awesome. The game has all the core things the first two games had, and it brings them into an FPS perspective. You're not playing from behind the character, you are the character. And it feels like an FPS in every respect.
Now, with this type of controller configuration, would this work well for other FPS franchises, perhaps?
I'd say more than well. I'd say it worked great. I mean, you use the nunchuck in your left hand, it works like your WASD, and you just use the actual analog stick. And in your right hand, you use the Wiimote as a pointer. I mean, it works like a perfect mouse-keyboard combo for that matter. You are a little limited by not having all the buttons, but you've got two other finger buttons on your nunchuck, and then you've got the A, the Z, and about four other buttons between the 1, 2, and the negative and the plus sign on the Wiimote.
Isn't this the same control setup that Red Steel used and failed with?
Yeah, but I think Nintendo learned from that. I think that was kind of the
Nintendo
base
are
project.
better programmers.
Yeah, that too. They know their own product definitely better. But this just came out in every respect better than I could have ever imagined. It's actually a lot of fun to play, and the graphics look great on there.
So what would you give this game?
Oh, no. How much would you pay for this game? How much did you pay for this game, and what would you pay for this
I
game?
paid $49 for this. It's one of the first games I've actually paid full price for, shy of Zelda, which was just because it was release title. But this I really, really was debating until I read some reviews. And I read reviews by people that didn't even like playing FPSs, people that didn't like the Wii specifically. And they were even turned on by how easy this was to use and how much fun it actually turned out to be. And these are people that didn't even like the first two Metroid games. So, I mean, that said enough for me that I would enjoy it.
So you would be willing to pay full price for this game?
I really think this is one of the first games on the console that aside of from Zelda and maybe one other, that really demands the full price. I mean, I think it's really worth it. They did a lot of work on this, and it works really well.
So you're saying you'd agree with a 9 out of 10 that basically everybody's given it?
I really would, yeah.
Well,
and I'm an FPS gamer on the
8.8.
PC, I mean, I'm hardcore PC FPSer, but this really works well. I mean, it works well enough that I can translate to it, and it doesn't take away my hardcore ability. And it lends more to it because I'm able to use the controls just as well as I am on a PC. And you can adjust a lot of the sensitivity in this game, too, to speed things up, so it really is flexible.
Do you think a game like Half-Life 2 would work well with that configuration?
I think it's possible. I really do. I think there's going to be certain cutbacks. I mean, there's definitely limitations when you're going down from a PC to a console. There's certain things you're going to lose, but I think it really is flexible enough. It will lend a lot to future FPSs. I mean,
Okay.
I think a lot of people will learn from this, too, if they just play it and see how well it functions.
As long as they don't make another Turok game, we'll be okay.
Or another Red Steel?
No, the
Well,
Red Steel
maybe-
2's already been announced.
Maybe they will learn from this. Who knows? Maybe somebody will be paying attention and go, God,
always-
we should have done that.
It's always Nintendo that has to set the standards. Like, okay, now here you
They
go.
really do. I mean, it takes them forever to put the game out, but when they finally do, it really is just
Hopefully they
perfect.
set the standard.
But
in naming
Nintendo
their
does have
systems.
a certain reputation with their third-party developers, yes.
So, next up,
I'd like to also point out, by the way, that he's a hardcore, not casual FPS player.
Okay.
And this is definitely made for a casual crowd.
All right. Steve?
So would this be a hardcore, casual
Oh, my
FPS?
God. Steve?
What?
Gamecock.
Gamecock!
Okay. Now that he's busy,
So when's the Gamecock going to release some Wii?
That's a good question. Although
What about the cheese?
their MMO Fury game is actually apparently going to be full of testosterone, so it really goes along that whole route there.
you know, I try so hard. All right.
Thank God so
Pubic
far.
hair.
But in the end, it never really mattered.
Pubic hair aside.
What?
Gamecock and follicle. Never mind.
Yeah. Follicle aside,
Okay. So I have a review,
unfortunately.
and it's for God Hand. Well, actually, that's not the name of the game. It's actually God fucking Hand. And
Is that the Japanese translation?
Japanese.
Some sort of
Japanese
fetish video or
God
what?
Hand is not a fetish video.
God fucking hand sounds like
Well,
a fetish video.
Only if it has like a double-digit number after it.
Heavenly God fucking hand.
22.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shin Godhead.
New God Hand, okay, because you wore out the first one.
Yes.
So anyway, God Hand is a game by our good friends at Clover, and basically,
ex-friends.
well,
Yeah.
they left and came back as seeds, whatever. And basically, I don't know how to describe this game other than a really bad anime episode. It's
It's pretty much like a Fist of the North Star knockoff.
it's got
Yeah.
really bad English dubbing.
And it has all the enemy variety
opposed to-
and background style of Streets of Rage.
Yeah, and you
Cool.
basically beat the living crap out of everything.
Well, you
In the
kind of
game.
beat the living crap out of the same three guys.
Well, yeah,
So
but
what, this is like a side-scrolling.
no, this is
Beat 'em
a
up?
3D.
it's a 3D beat 'em up.
Yeah. So basically, the whole thing is that you have the power of the God Hand, which allows you
can
to
punch people.
It's
Yeah,
an overpowered Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters.
There might be an
Cool.
attack. For that.
Godsmack the game.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So is this like a 3D FPS?
It's a 3D
fighter?
beat 'em up.
So it's like 2/3 isometric.
Nope.
Overhead.
No.
On the side
It,
scroller.
it has a over-the-shoulder view.
It's pretty much behind, yeah.
And
so it's sort of
basically,
a Gears of War beat 'em up.
well, it's not really even
Yeah,
good.
you can
Gears of
call it
War.
that.
I mean, it's going to be like Golden Axe, any type of beat 'em up.
When he's talking
game.
perspective-wise, but yeah,
Perspective-wise,
Gears of War is
but
a
yeah,
good
Gears of
ringer.
War.
It takes the action-adventure camera and layout design, and it turns it into a beat 'em up. It's a fairly subtle difference from what takes it from an
Except it's
action-adventure to a
beat 'em up that's
but
like
it's there.
R-type quality.
Yeah, the game is
It's that hard.
ungodly difficult. I mean, that's how I like my
It's
games. I like them.
punishingly difficult.
I love difficult games.
Well,
As if no
you
one
may be
knows.
masochistic, but this is a punishingly difficult game.
It is. I love it.
But you still come back for more. I went through
Oh,
the
yeah,
first round
Just-
about 4
you
times
need to
and
stop
enjoyed
saying it that way.
Yeah.
Stop saying I love it when it says it punishes you. That's disturbing.
Beat me, you bad little game.
The safety word is lemon.
And
Lemon.
not only that, but the
Safety
difficulty
word is
level is
more.
very trial and error, too.
Yeah.
So
And they don't give you a lot of instruction when you first
the
start the game.
tutorial kicks your fucking ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
very safe, yeah.
tutorial's like throwing you right in the middle of the game and saying, "Hey, yeah, go knock yourself out," literally.
Yeah, and the dialogue, worst dialogue ever.
Oh, come on. That's like the good part of the game.
Well, it's
Well,
still
it's
pretty
definitely
bad.
the easy
though.
part of the game.
Yeah, you didn't have to beat up the dialogue. The dialogue kind of beat itself up.
Oh, the dialogue beats
But-
you up.
But the game is a lot of fun. It is a fun game, even though it is obnoxiously difficult. So I purchased.
I would temper that with a lot of warnings that fun for Murdocks.
Yeah.
if you are a gamer like me, you will enjoy the game.
There's nobody
there are
like
none.
you.
So, well,
Just 10% of the population.
hey, now wait a minute.
There are not 10% of the population that's Murdock. There really aren't.
Yeah,
Such things would cause all sorts of problems.
Much faster population decline.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
In any case, what would
No,
you
no,
pay
yeah,
for
it'd be
this
great.
super hard?
Okay, well, I bought it used for $14.99.
Oh, dude, it's new for 16.
I bought it at GameStop. What do you want? No one else had a copy of it.
I told you Circuit City had it for like 16 bucks.
Whatever. I was
That's
close.
what he wants.
Yeah. So I bought it
Anyways.
for that. I think it's probably like $9.99. It's worth $10.
Oh, it's definitely a $10 title.
Oh yeah. But the quotes are awesome. They are, and you get to like beat people
Oh,
up.
they're not Neo Geo quality.
They're
It
pretty
has-
close.
It has a real sense of humor. I definitely like that about it.
Yeah, I do like when you like get into
Oh,
a combo and
sometimes you
smack some
joke
enemy
about
around
it.
and you start spanking them. That's awesome.
I got a split.
Or you kick them in the balls so they go flying up to the moon.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome. You need to see this game, Roger.
On the big screen.
No, you don't. It will not improve the graphics.
It'll definitely
The
make it
graphics
worse.
not that good.
And
right.
what they
Graphics are
did
like
for like
PS1
building
quality.
clipping, it's really weird.
I don't know if it was on purpose or if that was just to facilitate you being able to see what's outside your range. I don't know.
It's totally on purpose because when those walls clip out, they still have like the little stub wall down at the bottom that's like completely textured and filled in on the top. They definitely intended to do it that way, but it's weird.
That's strange.
Nobody else does clipping like that.
Intentional clipping. That's strange.
So, anyway, also I would like to mention that the God Hand review is the 100th review for this podcast.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to do it.
No, but yes.
Huh.
Now, moving on, we have our last thing, which is the round table.
One last thing.
Well,
Are we going to reduce the cost of the podcast by $200?
unless, did you have a review, Roger?
No, not really. The last game I played, I don't know if it's really worth reviewing.
It's not.
What game was that?
Prey.
It's
for the
No, it's not review.
Well, here I can sum it up
It
pretty
sucks.
good. It was
So you shoot
it's
people
very
upside down?
It was very pretty. However, it was kind of just shoot and go into ghost form and solve puzzle and then shoot again.
It was like
it
a
was kind of
missed
repeat.
FPS.
Well, it was
It's like
Puzzles
making
aren't
it
that
was
interesting.
it was a beautiful game, but it was kind of like, I'm glad I just rented it. Let me
Yeah.
put
So
it
it's
to
like
that.
fucking a cheerleader.
Okay, I'll take your word for that one.
Kind of pretty, but not
I
much.
gotta-
better.
What's the going rate?
I gotta say that Prey was one of those titles where I didn't even know it got released.
I
Well,
didn't care that
Well,
it got released.
it's been worked on for 7 years. I mean, couldn't you?
I know, that's what I mean. They worked on it for so long, and then like 3 months after it was released, I'm like, what, Prey came out?
and it's got a generic story? Wow, you guys worked for a long time on shit.
Sweet.
Why didn't
Like
you
I
give
said,
up?
it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Like I said,
Forgettable.
yeah.
Forgettable.
You know what they spent all their money on was licensing the songs.
All right. So
Yeah, the songs that they licensed that you could optionally play in the beginning but could also completely ignore and never showed up again?
No, the jukeboxes actually showed up a couple of different
All right.
times.
let's
Oh,
go on
so
to
they
our.
cut and pasted the model. That equals content.
Yeah.
So let's go on to our final thing, which is our round table. And the starting point that I have here is best anime-based video games other than Area 88.
Oh, the
Fist
Sailor,
in the North Star.
the Sailor Moon ripoff of Streets of Rage.
No, no, I was gonna.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I was.
Discussion's over.
Yeah.
No, I
Thread over.
Well, what about an anime that you would like to see as a video game? Like me personally, I would love to see Grave of the Fireflies MMORPG.
Well,
I mean,
No,
yeah.
what they need to do is they
Pretty
need
much.
to make a Nintendo DS version for Death Note.
They have a Nintendo DS version of Death Note.
Oh, really?
Yes, and is a text adventure game.
Because I could just see being able
What?
to write the name down at the
What?
bottom.
Yeah,
and-
that's pretty much the game.
What?
I'm not making that up.
You just write people's names down and they die?
Well, that doesn't work in real life.
Damn it.
Because
Technological
you got this
voodoo.
whole stack of
I do.
names
I
that
had
you
this whole.
entered in there.
I got a whole bunch of things I want to do with that thing.
Just don't put your shopping list in it.
Yeah, I mean, we are starting this discussion in a bad place. I mean, licensed games that we want to see. I mean, it's kind of like, who
Yeah.
do you want to see piss on a franchise you
Yeah,
like?
yeah, pretty much.
Well, it doesn't have to be a franchise we like.
Well, then why would I want to see it as a game? If I don't like it, I don't want to see it as a game. And if I do like it, I know it's going to get ruined by somebody. So,
Just to piss off the people who like it.
I mean, really, Area 88's the only way to go.
But people
Go
like
Go
the
13
Dragon
was a
Ball
pretty
Z
good video game.
too.
Go 13 was good. It was hard, but it was
Wheels
good.
on wheels.
I couldn't beat that thing with the cheat code.
Yeah.
Man, 99 lives just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about Meals on Wheels, might as well just go play Stranglehold or something like that.
I mean,
I don't think there was any guns in
I
the
for
other
one,
ones.
am waiting for La Blue Girl for the Wii. I mean, I think that would be an awesome game. That
Oh, I can't believe that
Hey,
there's not a La Blue Girl
Just
hentai
wait
game.
for Supreme God fucking Fist 27.
Yeah. New.
Hyper fighting.
Yes.
Shindai.
Cowboy Bebop
Turbo.
Fight Simulator.
actually, that's out on the PS2.
There's also a Cowboy Bebop shoot 'em up.
Yeah, he's not making that up.
There's a shmup for Cowboy Bebop.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure
I don't know if
it's
it's a. I don't know if is that a Dojin game or is that a real game?
No, it's an actual licensed game by a professional studio.
What's it on?
I think it's the PS1 or PS2.
PS2, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of anime games that come out and
That never show up here.
yeah,
Well, that never show up here. Yeah.
Fly below the radar.
yeah, and instead they bring out like Naruto and
Yeah.
actually it's good they bring out those games because it leaves Japan to play Megazone 23.
Well, yeah. Apparently,
Filling the
when
void.
when we previously thought that we were getting the shitty anime video games, we apparently were wrong.
And we lucked out. They didn't ship all 27 different versions of Evangelion Strip Mahjong over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Well, how about all 27 versions of whatever Dragon Ball Z games? Because I remember that being out for the original Nintendo.
Those are actually getting better.
Well, there's
the Wii fucking rocks.
Well,
I was surprised.
they've gone away from the developer that they've had for like 30 years.
Yeah.
I feel the need to add
Apparently
that there's
it's improving them.
there's an MMO of Appleseed out there, and it's like Risk. It is. I was like, wow, there's an Appleseed MMO.
So does that mean you have to wait
Yeah.
8 hours for it
Is
to
it-
load?
That's a web browser game, actually.
It's a web game, and it's all in Japanese. So.
Well, you could always go for what
The reason-
Bakadon is slobbering
the
over.
Fist of the North
Fist of the
Star
North Star.
MMORPG.
Oh
Yeah.
Jesus!
Yeah, what do you do? Search for water?
Yeah, it's gonna and yeah, it'll
And
it'll be only slightly harder than Final Fantasy 11.
Maybe they'll get around to releasing it about the time the Shenmue massively multiplayer game gets resurrected.
Yeah, where you
for
wander
its
around
third
and do
trial.
nothing.
And don't forget to pay for it with your
That's
Fist
like
of the North
the
Star and
Mist.
credit
That's like the
card.
Mist MMO.
Wow, that's just that's a disaster waiting to happen.
I actually
Because I
want the
mean,
credit card.
okay, so we need to make a whole MMO world where everything is interactive. Oh yeah, that's easy to program.
Just be full of
Yeah, it's
kittens.
called a chat room.
It'd
No,
be
it's
black,
called
the
it's called
MMORPG.
Gaia.
So the only other starting point I had was that we need another Starcade, a TV show where people play games, and I don't know if you guys remember
But hell is
Starcade.
watching other people
Yeah.
play video games.
Yeah.
Well,
Pretty much.
Unless it's Luminous, because that's just hypnotic.
yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know. I watched a female Japanese champion play Tetris and just fucking
You know
blow
what?
my mind.
I could also believe that would be hypnotic.
Actually,
It was pretty.
Falling
yeah.
blocks,
but are you
just
looking
falling
at-
blocks in general are pretty hypnotic.
The most hypnotic thing I saw was a woman, a young girl.
I don't need to hear this.
Well,
I think this will make our podcast illegal.
I'm sure she was legal in the country in which it was filmed. She was playing a shmup, and she was wearing like skirt and thigh highs, and
Oh Jesus!
that was the hottest thing I've
So
ever seen.
were you like watching the game or watching her?
He was watching the game.
I don't remember
if
the
you know
game.
what I mean.
I don't remember what game it was.
It was a
I was gonna
different
say, I was
game.
going to say that's kind of like watching, naked DDR
let's
or
just
something
Naked
like that.
DDR is never the right answer. I mean, there's that metal
let's
everywhere.
just say that he was active watching instead of passive watching.
Okay, well, thanks for clearing that up, Steve. I think, but you don't want another Starcade or another Game Pro.
Well, that's what
Say
they're
no.
trying to
It-
do
Nothing
with
was
those.
Game Pro
Ge-
related.
That's
This
what they're
was the-
trying to do with those arcade tournaments or whatever. They
Well,
were,
we talked about
the
this a
video
couple
game
podcasts
tournaments.
ago, where they
The CBS
the
thing.
CBS
Yeah.
ridiculousness.
Yeah, we had to
God.
we had to wake up at 3 a.m. after John Biner's Bazaar to watch it.
Yeah, and it sucked. So
Yeah, I missed it, and I ended up watching the Farm.
really, I
Report.
gotta tell
What's
you,
this television thing you
know,
talk of?
Most sports are not all that interesting to watch anyway, and watching people play simulated sports is even
Well,
less.
do you remember that old Nickelodeon show? What was it called?
The one with the slime?
Oh, that nails it down.
Yeah, the blonde hair
No,
host,
it was- no,
Jeff.
No, it was the one where they went into a video game, and they had to like play game. What was it
Jesus
called?
Christ.
It wasn't any good. I
No, it
already
wasn't
know
any
this.
good
Captain
I haven't
N?
seen it.
Nah, it got syndicated. too.
Tron.
Anything with going into a video game. Just
I remember.
fail.
I remember we were
Pac-Man.
talking about and
Dungeons
it got
and
syndicated
Dragons.
as well, and it was awful. We don't need that again. We don't need any of that again.
Yeah,
If
the
we could
80s
get
were a great
G4
time.
to
They
stop
got-
It was called
broadcasting.
Nick Arcade,
Ugh.
and they had a really annoying host.
Yeah. Yeah, that's different.
And they've resurrected that a couple of times. What, there was Reboot. There's like
Well,
another
reboot
3D
has
one. that's like the
reboot has
same kind
nothing
of
to do
thing.
with people playing games in real life and watching them.
So it's not quite as bad.
Not mock the reboot.
We're
I'm
mocking the reboot.
I'm mocking reboot because I happened to see that one episode where it was like Bob and Dot Matrix. They were like having this
Or
shindig, and for like
Not a
all
hootenanny?
the square people of whatever the town is, and they were dancing around and singing. It was just very gay.
A gathering, a shindig. Or a
I don't remember the episode, but it was really bad.
It was a hootenanny. It's a whole lot of hooting.
Well, on the show, it's called a chat room.
Did you ever see that one episode when the user downloaded all the porn?
Oh, yeah.
That was the best episode ever.
Oh, did you see that hour-long special where he defragged his hard drive? Wow, that was awesome.
Hey, man, they left out the sex scene from Tron.
It was not a sex scene. It was they were in bed and nothing happened. There were no light cycles involved or anything. It was
Nobody was fondling other digital bits.
Hey, she
the
grew
bit was
wings.
not
She grew wings.
It's not.
Yeah.
She was not a tampon. She was not. No.
Tampons don't have wings. Haven't you figured that part out yet?
What?
This is the worst conversation that's ever been recorded in the history of the world.
So that's what Red Bull is for.
Red Bull.
It gives you wings.
I'm trying to process that whole idea.
Some for visual reference.
Some Red Bull?
Emily will be providing some sort of video to our website at some point, which will not be able to be aired in any country at all.
Any country, anywhere.
Yes.
Or at least we'll embarrass you in the checkout line.
So, anyway, is that it for the podcast?
Why not?
It was it a while ago.
Oh, hey, I want to add one thing. I was trying to describe
Gamecock?
to somebody, to Gamecock. I was trying to describe to somebody what exactly...
Gamecock.
I'm here. Where's Riggs? Where's Riggs?
He's on foot. I was trying to explain to this guy Project Sylphid. He's like, "What kind of game is it? Like a space sim or something?" I realized what Project Sylphid is. It's a 3D shmup.
You mean like Star Fox?
Doable!
No, it's not like Star Fox because
Let's have Shabbater.
there's so many enemies that come at you from no apparent origin, and you can kill them very easily.
So it's
you
like
don't have to
Battlezone.
And you don't need to aim. It's a shmup.
So is it about dodging enemy fire then?
There is dodging enemy fire available.
Is it bullet hell?
No, it's not a bullet hell shmup.
That would actually be kind of suck-worthy if it was 3D.
Yeah, that would really suck, actually.
That would take a lot of bullets.
It would be.
All right.
Well, they already have slowdown in it. So.
Yeah, okay, this is a real shmup then.
Well, that's 150 things on screen at one time.
All right. Well, that's it for Diehard Gamer Radio. Join us again next time.
Thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.